I'm Paul Moffat.
I'm Jan Moffat.
And this is Clockworks, a Legion podcast. And today we're going to do a bit of news and updates and what we've been doing between the seasons. If you think that, Jan, if you think that works. If you think that...
No.
Clockworks.
Oh, I thought you weren't going to do it this time. Come on. Did you miss us?
Did you?
So, guys, what have we been up to in the Legion off-season, in the Clockworks off-season? We've been doing our other podcast. It's called Way Too Seriously, and it's all about kids' movies, and we take them, what's the word?
Exactly as seriously as they should be taken.
Yes, we take them somewhat seriously.
So, Way Too Seriously comes out every Friday. Every Friday we talk about a different kids movie. It's shorter than Clockworks usually is, so it's about half an hour long of us digging into some kids movie that we have just watched and taking some of its issues
just a little bit seriously.
A tiny bit seriously.
If you're interested in seeing that and listening to that, you can subscribe Goodstuff.fm/WTS. So what else do we need to talk to these fine folks about, Paul?
Well, we also have another interview with someone involved in making Legion that is hopefully lined up if we can ever get our schedules to work. We've been planning this one for a long time, so I'm not going to say with who in case it keeps being delayed, but hopefully we have one more interview coming. With our interview with Masters FX, we said it would be the last one because at the time we thought it would be, but we've got another one.
People actually want to talk to us. It's really nice.
And we want to talk to them. We've also got a Patreon, you may know. You can find it at patreon.com/clockworkscast. And we're working towards a Patreon goal, a modest little Patreon goal of just $20 a month. We are at the point of recording this, we are $2 short of that goal.
$2. So if one of you decides to pledge $2 a month, or two of you decide to pledge $1 a month, we'll be to our goal. Guys, it's all it takes. It's a few more, just like two more people, or even one more person.
So the way that Patreon goal, when we first set it up, we said that if we met it, we would start releasing our second podcast, Way Too Seriously, and then we just got antsy because we really wanted to release Way Too Seriously. So the way we have rephrased it and have for a while is, when we reach that $20 goal, we will start making 2 podcasts instead of 1. Right now, Clockworks is on a bit of an inter-season hiatus, and Way Too Seriously is where we are putting our energy. But when we meet that $20 goal, we will start making Clockworks again, even though the next season of Legion hasn't started yet.
So, what are we going to do for episodes of Clockworks if Legion isn't on right now and we can't analyze our favorite show?
Well, while Legion isn't on, I don't think we will release a weekly episode of Clockworks even after we've met this $20 goal. But we do have some ideas, and here's what they are. 1, we have a plan to do a bonus episode talking about a Legion comic. Legion has been in comics a bunch, but there's a 4-comic run that we specifically have read and are given our thoughts about. Mm-hmm. And we'll do a bonus episode of Clockworks about that.
Check our Twitter page for the exact issues of the comics we're going to be talking about. So if you wanted to read them ahead of time, you could.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember any of the numbers or details about it, but we'll talk about those and do an episode of Clockworks about it. Then, in our very first intro episode of Clockworks, we talked about movies and TV shows that Legion reminded us of. We will do bonus episodes of Legion about many of those shows. Especially, we'll do a bonus episode all about Pushing Daisies. So we won't go into Pushing Daisies with the same degree of depth that we go into Legion. If we were going to do that, we'd start our whole Pushing Daisies podcast. But in Clockworks, we'll do one episode where we talk about Pushing Daisies.
One episode where we'll talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
And an episode or two about Wes Anderson. We said Wes Anderson, and it's his whole deal is what Legion reminds us of. I think probably if we do only one Wes Anderson episode, it'll be about Moonrise Kingdom.
I love Moonrise Kingdom.
And that's not because Moonrise Kingdom is more Legion-y than any other Wes Anderson. It's just my favorite.
Yep.
So if we're going to talk about one, it'll be that one. But
Absolutely.
we might talk about more than one.
So then we have a further Patreon goal of if we get up to $30 a month, we are going to do a series of podcasts on Fargo, which is creator Noah Hawley's other show. We've watched all 3 seasons, and we'll do 3 episodes, one on each season of Fargo, analyzing and getting into the depth of that awesome show that Noah Hawley has done. The other thing we'll do is talk about the 90s cartoon X-Men. You want to go into what we're doing about that?
Specifically, that's also a Patreon goal. It's a higher one, and frankly, Jan and I might need to have a talk about whether it's appropriate as a Patreon goal, because I said it when we first invented the idea of this, and we haven't come back to it. But
We'll see.
Whether it's a goal exactly as written or not, or we rethink it. In any case, we'll do an episode talking about the X-Men cartoon, the 90s X-Men cartoon, and specifically the episodes with the Shadow King in them. And we'll talk about the way the Shadow King is portrayed in the 90s X-Men cartoon. Probably that's a Patreon goal higher than $30.
Okay. If you're not supporting us on Patreon and you want to, here are some exciting bonuses you can get if you support us. We do, for every Way Too Seriously episode we do a bonus one where it's a trivia episode where Paul and I ask each other trivia questions.
Jan, can you name every single actor who ever appeared as James Bond?
No. Actually, yeah, I totally can, but that's not what this episode is about.
Not right now, but
that's the kind of thing we do. The other thing we do is we release. You get early access, so anything we release, you'll get it at least the week before. Is the $3 Patreon reward, and if you're $5 and above, you get special one-off episodes. For example, we talked all about the movie Logan. But if you didn't if you're not pledging $5 a month, you didn't get to hear it. So that's your little treat.
And we also, even at the $1 level, the other thing we do is Current Obsession.
Oh, yes.
That's roughly once a month or so, a little more often than that. We talk about just some stuff that we've been really into. And in the past, we've talked about Handmaid's Tale,
Ms. Marvel, Fargo,
Broadchurch.
Yep.
And we'll continue to do that. So if you're a patron, you'll get Current Obsession, bonus trivia episodes of Way Too Seriously, possibly early access to every episode of Clockworks or Way Too Seriously as much as a week before anyone else gets it, and one shot where we talk in depth about some movie or book or musical or video game or painting or...
Painting? Something.
So all of that can be yours, and you could make everybody get to enjoy the 3 bonus episodes about Fargo and all the things we've been talking about. You know you want to. Frankly, begging for you to give us money makes me feel really uncomfortable, but I'm just leaning in.
All right. I feel like we're doing an infomercial now. Let's scale back a little bit. And
the main point here was partly to tell you about Patreon, but mostly just to tell you about what's in store in the future of Clockworks.
Even if you don't give us money on Patreon, which is totally fine, we understand. You can't support everyone in that way. We really appreciate you listening, subscribing, giving a review on iTunes, and you're going to get some bonus stuff anyway. We're going to continue to do, as long as we get a couple extra bucks, we're going to give you some more Clockworks episodes, which we know you love. So, is that everything for today? That's it for today. All right. I've been Paul Moffat. I've been Jan Moffat. Goodbye. See you later. You don't have the see you later on this show. I can do whatever I want.